Oblivion's Foe. Does this armor set suck? This is a brand new series here in the brahwegotthis channel, and what I'm gonna be doing is taking armor sets through rigorous testing. And by rigorous testing, I mean a vet dungeon. I am going to test this armor set to its ultimate limits. We're going to stretch it. We're going to rip it. We're going to put skills on it. We're going to do everything to make sure we can see if this item set really does suck. And spoiler alert, it's not great. Did you know that there's over 200 item sets in ESO, and that's not even including crafted sets? I kind of stopped counting because it was just really overwhelming, and I also didn't want you guys to make fun of me for how much of a life I don't have. But needless to say, a lot of these item sets I have never heard of in my life. So I thought it'd be fun to go through ESO's item sets and actually see if they suck or not and make it into a funny yet educational video. So if you guys and gals like this series, please drop a damage over time on that like button and try to put, so we can try to push this out. If we can get 200 likes on this series, I will continue it. And what I would like you guys to do as well is comment below the next item set that you want me to cover, because I really hope that this is something that you guys actually find enjoyable and in some ways educational. And that's the last thing I want to mention. Please understand that this is supposed to be satire and educational secondary. So if you're seeing an item set that I'm covering is one of your favorite sets, please don't take it personal, because again, there's probably going to be some item sets in here that I like, but I'm just going to absolutely tear to shreds. Lastly, I want to give a massive shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for the support, and check out all the social links below in the description, but let's get into it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have a series of breakdowns on every single one of these series. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is where you actually get this item set and how to obtain it. Oblivion's Foe is a crafted set, and it's in the Cold Harbor zone. The Cold Harbor zone is right here, and that is a base game zone. The hilarious thing about this set is it takes 8 traits to research. I have no idea why it takes 8 traits to research this set. It should take 1. It's crazy. You have to go to the research tables and you have to have 8 traits researched. So knock yourself out if you want to play this. So what this item set does is, this is the light set of it. You can do medium or heavy, but you're most likely going to use light. This adds 124 weapon and spell damage. The 3-piece, it adds 1,435 offensive penetration. The 4-item adds 634 crit chance, and there's 2 5-item bonuses. It adds 124 weapon and spell damage, and the other 5-item bonus is when you deal damage with soul magic, you mark the target soul, dealing 6,045 magic damage over 10 seconds, as long as they are not already marked from you. This effect scales off of the higher of your weapon or spell damage. So you see, it's like when you read this set, you're like, okay, the flat stats don't seem too bad. You know, the spell damage, the penetration, the crit chance, that's all decent in my opinion. But the 5-item set is interesting. You're like, oh, that sounds really cool. Like, there's gotta be a lot of soul magic abilities that you can use in this game. Yeah, there's not. Unless I missed something, there are 2 abilities that you can use that does soul magic damage. And guess what? They're in the soul magic tree. You have Soul Strike, which is an ultimate that has a channel time of 5 seconds. That's a long time, y'all. 5 seconds? That's insane. It also costs 175 ultimate, but it does 48,570 magic damage over 5 seconds. You also gain immunity to all disabling effects when you're channeling. You know, you have that, but your other one is Consuming Trap, which actually is a really good spammable already. It gives you resources back, but it's still, this is the only support for this set when it comes to soul magic that I could find. And I mean, if you look in the champion tree, there's really not a lot of support either for soul magic. I mean, there's like channeled effects and stuff that you can get, but that's it, y'all. That's it with this set. Can you actually even like use this? And so the points I want to make real quick before we go through a veteran dungeon, because like I said, we're going to run it through a veteran dungeon. Is good things about it is it adds weapon and spell damage, penetration, crit chance. That's really solid. I mean, in itself, that's fine, right? That's fine. But the problem that I foresee happening with this is it's so narrow. You only have 2 soul magic abilities, and you can only do this to targets that aren't marked. So it's not like you can continually spam that on the same target. It's not going to proc it multiple times within that 10 seconds. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. So I'm using this set. I have 3 pieces on the body, and I have the staff here, and then I'm using False Gods and Grothdar with it. My bar looks like this with Consuming Trap and Soul Strike. So in this dungeon, you're gonna see I'm gonna lay minimal dots, like I'm gonna lay the dots that I need to lay, but I'm not gonna use any ultimates except for Soul Strike, and the only spammable I'm gonna try to use is Consuming Trap, and we're gonna see what happens. So let's go ahead and get into that veteran dungeon. All right, here we go. Crypt of Hearts 1. Let's test this set. No, this is not a DLC dungeon. This will at least be able to see how this performs with you know, the conglomeration of what I'm using. I mean, this is, I just don't think this set's gonna do well. I really hope the other DPS is pulling some good DPS, because I feel really bad. I mean, we'll be fine because we're doing Crypt of Hearts 1, but if we would have done like Lair of Marsalok, it would have just been cruel. So the only skill in the game that I can use with this set, I'm just gonna spam. Sorry, there's 2 skills. One of them's an ultimate. With Oblivion's Foe, it's just like, okay, like I'm using Consuming Trap, but I'm like really confused in a way of like, I can't tell if it's actually doing anything well. You know, we'll look at CMX after this, but it's like, geez, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not doing terrible. So, I mean, I don't know. It's not that bad. All right, let's use my ultimate again. Let's see what happens. I think I'm killing the minion. Oh my gosh. There's my one ultimate for the next 5 minutes. You know, if I was using Mother Sorrow or Burning Spellweave, there'd be so many more skills that would be augmented by that set, so I wouldn't be so limited. That's the problem with this set. It's so limiting to what you actually get out of it. Solid 14.7k DPS. That's great. Why am I putting myself through this? It's for the community, guys. It's for the community. I don't even remember this part of the dungeon. Oh, it's because I'm going the wrong way. That makes sense. Yeah, that's why I don't remember this part of the dungeon, because I think I've barely been down there. Yeah, I've played this game for like 6 years and I'm still going the wrong way in Crypt of Hearts 1. That's something to keep in mind with this as you're watching this video. All right, Soul Strike. Let's see what this does. I can't do anything because this is like a 9,000 minute channel. Okay, I hit 19k with that. Like, I mean, at least you never run out of sustain by spamming Consuming Trap. I mean, that's a good thing, right? You know, False Gods really does help it as well. I really like False Gods. It's just in general, it just shows you how good False Gods is, I feel like. Used with anything Magicka DPS wise. Yeah, I haven't used Dragon Knight Standard or anything. Let's just use this though. I mean, it's such a long channel. You know, I'm hitting 52% of our team's DPS. So, I mean, I guess that's still good. I think a lot of that's just my Ash Eruption. We'll see when we get into like the analytics here. Oh, during hard mode, I forgot because this is a base game dungeon. All right, yeah. I mean, we're getting so much from just our AoEs. I think. Yeah, I guess I'll use Soul Strike. I'm basically vulnerable for like 5 seconds. I hate that, dude. Yeah, channels in this game just really, I feel like channels just aren't good in general. Like some of them, there might be a few that are decent, but like crystal shards or crystal fragments, but I mean, you don't really want the channel. You want like the instant proc. Oh, hopefully he doesn't use his AoE. I'm in the middle of like a 9-minute channel. Okay, gosh, my hands are getting tired. Spamming Consuming Trap for ages. Oh my gosh, I'm out of Magicka.
Oh. Flashback.
At least you never run out of sustain by spamming Consuming Trap.
End of flashback.
Dang, it's so cool. It's such cool effects in this dungeon. All right, Soul Strike for 10 minutes. It's a powerful ultimate, but yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at these fights real quick in the CMX. This is what you kind of see right here. I mean, we could look at this guy. So you see here that Eruption was doing 12.5% of my DPS. Light Attack was doing 10.6. Burning was doing 8%. Consuming Trap was doing 6.1%. Then Unstable Wall, then Grothdar, then my ultimate for Soul Strike, Flames of Oblivion, Engulfing Flames, and then Oblivion's Foe at 3.9%. And if you look at these other fights too, it's very low on the list. Eruption's doing a lot of damage. Alhambris, you see the Consuming Trap's obviously doing 8% because it's my main spammable, so it should be. But I mean, even my light attacks are doing more. Eruption is doing more than Consuming Trap. Which is kind of insane. But you just see here that Oblivion's Foe is just so low. This is the thing. It's like, it's not like the worst thing ever, but it doesn't really have that much impact because I'm using one skill and one ult. It's very narrow. Okay, so as you saw in that dungeon, it's very mediocre. At best, it's so narrow. You saw some of the calculations, some of the numbers. it's really honestly like my hand almost fell off from just spamming one ability like that. Like I was getting very bored. But how I'm gonna rank if an item set actually sucks is we're gonna do 3 different categories. We're gonna rank how bad it sucks on the suck scale for fashion, how bad it sucks on the suck scale in flavors. So flavors like, is the item set like a cool idea? Does it have like a neat little effect? Does it have a nice little like actual visual effect? That kind of stuff. And then we're gonna rate it on the actual scale of suck, of does it actually suck. And so my scale goes from 4 to 10, 4 being the worst, which means thou shall not be named. 5 is D tier, 6 is C tier, 7 is B tier, 8 is A tier, 9 is S tier, and 10 is God tier. What I'll do is I'll take the 3 numbers that I get for each category and I will average them, and that will be the overall suck rating of the item set. Because I feel like there's some item sets that actually look really cool in this game visually. They have really cool ideas, but they just don't work. And then there's some item sets in this game that just suck in general, and they don't have good ideas and they look terrible. So I feel like we need to take in account everything we get here. So you guys know I like fashion. So the first thing we're gonna grade this on, does this item set suck on the fashion scale? Well, since crafted sets can be crafted into any type of fashion that you want with like motifs or the style stones and everything, I'm gonna just give all crafted sets all the time a 6 rating on the scale, because that way it just keeps it uniform and consistent. Now, does this item set suck on the flavor scale? I think it sucks pretty bad. I gave it a 5, which is D. I mean, when you look at it, it's like, okay, it's cool. It's in Cold Harbor, right? Like that's neat. It's called Oblivion's Foe, and you're dealing soul magic. The idea is fine, but there's literally no support. The set just seems like it's just so outdated. Now watch, they're gonna like the next expansion is gonna come out, and it's gonna be like there's gonna be like 20 sets and like 10 skills that they add with soul magic, and then everyone's gonna be like, Adam, what are you talking about? And then they're gonna hit that dislike button and they're gonna be like, Adam, you're an So I gave it a 5. Now, does this set actually suck in game? Yes, it does, for multiple reasons. I gave it a 5, which is D tier. The reason, and in all seriousness, y'all, like, again, if you're using this set,
stop it. Get some help.
The reason I think it actually isn't good and it does suck in game is because for what you're getting for 8 traits, you only have 2 abilities that can utilize it. The difference between this and like Mother Sorrow is Mother Sorrow augments everything. You know, Burning Spellweave augments like everything on my bar here, all of my flame abilities for the most part. Problem is just how narrow the actual set is, and so when you actually put that into account, it's not worth it. The thing is Consuming Trap is already a really good skill. You don't need to run this set to make that skill better. It's not making it better really. So I think for the fact that it takes 8 traits to research and it doesn't affect a lot of different abilities, I just don't think you can rate it high. The qualities though that are actually decent are the flat buffs. The fact that you do get, you know, spell damage, weapon spell damage, offensive penetration, crit chance, and more weapon spell damage. This is not a bad like set if someone crafted it for you and you just need something to level with or something. It's not terrible, right? But it's just not something I would seek out to use. And it's not something I would seek out in an in-game setting. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel satisfying to use. So what that means is I gave it a 6, a 5, and a 5, which came out to be a 5.33 repeating, which rounded down is a 5. Which means that, everyone say it with me, does this armor set suck? Yes, it is disgusting. A 5 overall rating, and that is the brahwegotthis stamp of approval of an item set sucking. But if you guys did like this video, please let me know down in the comments, and let me know what item set you want me to cover next. Again, this is something new that I'm trying here in the channel. I hope it was funny. I hope this was something that you actually enjoyed, and you can check out all the links below in the description. But until next time, y'all, just remember to have faith, be great, and we'll see what item set sucks next time. Later.